Hey guys, welcome to the Gods Unchained beta with the TheProfesserf. Alright, it's time for our Monday Mythic meta for the Ranked Weekend event that ran on September 10th, 11th, and 12th. Let's take a look at our results. So here's our top players. We have 2 players with 24 wins, very close to a perfect weekend. We have 3 more players at 23 wins, and then rounding out the rest of the top 10, 22 wins. We have our 10th spot secured by the number of wins. We have several players with 21 wins throughout the next page and several more with 20 wins. A very competitive weekend indeed. Let's take a closer look. So for this past ranked weekend, we can see that War regains its stronghold over the meta with 19 of the top 20 players playing a War deck. We have 1 player that played Nature that made it to the top 20, and the other gods did not make it into the top 20. War secured 1st to 10th place. Looking at our number of wins, the best War deck managed 24 wins. The best Nature deck managed 21 wins. The best Magic and Death deck managed 20 wins. The best Light deck that I found managed 19 wins. And then the best Deception deck was at 17 wins. Looking at our simplified deck types, 16 of the top 20 players played a control deck, with 4 players in the top 20 playing an aggro deck. Let's look at our decks in more detail. Our top War deck was a control War deck with the Onslaught God Power. I'm sure you've faced this or seen this on the ranked ladder. It has the usual early removals in the form of Auric Rush, Enduring Shields, Tavern Brawler, Noctvi Pillagers, Trojan Battle Mage, Magic Missile Launcher. You have Iron Tooth Goblin to destroy relics. You have mass removals with Carnage Sweep, strong cleanup cards like Aeneas, Herdicus, Hector. You have deadly cards like Harvest Arachne. And then you have your strong endgame with Strength in Numbers, Avatar of War, and Demogorgon. Our best Nature deck managed 21 wins. This one's an aggro Nature deck, topping out at 6 mana. Using the Animal Bond God Power, it has the usual strong early plays from Nature in the form of Marshwalker, Underbrush Boar, Fey-Fame Blade, Canopy Barrage, the Shield Bearer, Wild Hog, Pyramid Warden. There's relic removal in the form of Svart Basilisk. You have Selena in there, along with Avatar of Nature. And then you have Jaguar Staffs, along with Reflection Elementalist to do some combos with some of the Blade Flies. Also 2 copies of the Ironclad Minotaur to fight against sleep decks. Our best Death deck finished with 20 wins. This one's a Soulburn Death deck. It has the usual damage cards in Ragnarok, Brimstone, Dangerous Ritual. You have stalls and removal in the form of Siren of the Grave, Blight Bomb, Half-Life. You have Afterlife interaction with Canopic Hoarder and Sand Scorpion. And you have Nephru as your top end. Our best Magic deck finished with 20 wins. This one's a control ramp Magic with the Clear Mind God Power. You have your Shadow Scryers, Star Shard Bolt, Tracking Bolt, Ramp with Elixir, Guardian of the Gates, Mana Toad. You have Relic removal with Spellbound Goblin, Creature removal in Crystal Rain, Ratify, Archimedes Mirror, Circe, Inferno. And then you have your endgame with Demogorgon, Hylian Leets, Frey, and Avatar of Magic. The best Light deck that I found finished with 19 wins. This one uses the Chosen One God Power, so I'm calling this a control deck. You have 1 creature, Osiris, and you have other cards to combo with it to make sure that you draw Osiris. Osiris, after it's removed from the board, returns back into the deck and keeping all the buffs on it. So you can continuously draw it as needed from your deck. And then you have cards to pull it from your deck in the form of Fated Arrival, The Trial Begins, and you have cards that support it by moving it closer to the top of the deck, like Dowsing Blade. You have lots of spells to stall, like Healing Light, Sit Down, Reformation, Anoint, and then you have Inquisitor Summons to slow down opponents that are aggressive. Our best Deception deck is a controlled Deception deck, either using Cheat or Memory Charm. One interesting thing to share about this deck is this is a Well Core deck with no cards besides Welcome and Core cards. This one mostly curves out with creatures all the way from 1 mana up to 8. You have lots of removals in the form of Athenian Archer, Vanguard Axwoman, Ogre Archers, Carthaginian Marine, Feral Shapeshifter. You have your Shiv, Hunting Trap, Umber Arrow, deadly cards in the form of Uncanny Rogue, Slipblade, Rapture Dance. You have Relic Removal with Bronze Servant and Svart Basilisk, 4 cards that are focused on relic removal. And then you have your stall and frontline cards like Inconspicuous Carriage, Minotaur Phalanx, Tomb Blade Master, Helion Elite. You have some hand disruption with Double Dealer. And then endgame cards in the form of Anti-Magic Expert and Achillean Dedicant. Looking at our meta snapshot for the ranked weekend, War continues to be popular with 40% representation and a 55% win rate. Death manages a 50% win rate as well. And Nature has gotten popular again at 26% representation. An increase in Nature means a decrease in Deception here, although Light remains the least used god at the moment. War continues its positive win rate across the 5 gods. Death has a couple of positive win rates over Magic and Nature. And Light, when played, has a positive win rate over Death, Magic, and Deception, but has a crushingly low win rate versus War. Death has the highest win rate against War, although not quite 50%. All right, continuing our scoreboard from last week, keeping track of all the top players that has the most top 10 finishes. After including the results from last weekend, once it is official, we can see there's a few changes here. Copper Pitch moves up from 7th place to 6th. Daniel moved from top 11 to now top 7, 4 spaces up. Clutch, Caution Fund, Disreputable, and Idiot Mouse all moved down the slot to accommodate the movement up. We have a new entrant into the top 20 list, Excite, and we've expanded the list to show the top 30. Although not yet official, we could see from the ranked weekend results from this past weekend that Mirage had 24 wins, possibly first or second place. So we could see Mirage extend his lead for first place here. All right, so here's our top players again. Congratulations on great performances and good luck on your prizes when we receive them.